What's up, everybody? How's it going? My name is DubDigital. Welcome to the DubDigital Crypto Christmas live stream. Figured you guys would be around at home, hopefully. And if you are, I like to talk about crypto. Hopefully, you like to talk about crypto. Welcome. How you guys feeling? And we'll get some people some time to filter in here. But for those of you who are new, I do this twice a week, Tuesdays and Thursdays at 12 p.m. Pacific Standard Time. And pretty collaborative. I'm streaming right now on X and YouTube. So wherever you're at, that's fine. Stay where you'd like to be. I think now X has the ability to interact on stream. So feel free. And while I'm here, if you're on X, follow me on YouTube. Link tree is in the description. And if you're on YouTube, follow me on X. It's also in my link tree, which could be found on my profile. And right here is my Twitter handle for those of you who don't know. Who do I got here? One person. Identify yourself. You got me. Two people now. Wow. I feel honored. It might be a light turnout, guys. I understand it's the holiday season, but consistency is key. But for those of you guys who are being shy right now, that's fine. A monologue. I'm pretty good at that, I think. Traditionally, December has been a pretty bullish month for Bitcoin and cryptocurrencies in general. I would say that this year was no exception. I mean, obviously not a blow off top kind of year. However, when you look at previous years up until this year, it's a much needed and much welcome improvement from 2022. 2023 has been. Hopefully 2024's Christmas season coming up, the next year, is much better. Hopefully, fingers crossed. Now I don't know quite, everyone was expecting a Christmas rally, and whenever people expect like the same thing all at once, usually it kind of takes a turn. So we haven't seen like any kind of exponential kind of price movement, but I think there's a lot of things lining up for the beginning of Q1 2024 that will be pleasantly surprising. Probably not even really surprising. I think a lot of people are expecting some bullishness coming into the market in Q1 of 2024. However, let's name the ways, shall we? So we have the Bitcoin ETF anticipated to go live with January 10th or before. Not quite sure how people know that. I think Novogratz dropped that in a interview he did recently. He probably knows more people than me. He probably knows things that I don't. However, it doesn't happen. Take with a grain of salt. You got to take all these dates that come out with a grain of salt and understand what he's trying to say is it's sooner rather than later, as in probably the next few months. If it doesn't happen January 10th, don't act like it's never going to happen. He's pretty bold in giving a date, right? Then we have the halving coming around. I think anticipated April of 2024. And that's always fundamentally pretty much a bullish kind of thing. Reduction of Bitcoin supply. I forget how much it's reducing to, but that typically has a 4 to 6 month lag, right? Things that happen within Bitcoin, things that happen within finance, there's always a lag effect. Guys, something happens, it takes time for the supply to dwindle down. It takes time for additional selling pressure to leave the exchanges and market. And then when the buying demand stays constant or even upticks, that's when we start seeing those exponential price increases in Bitcoin. For people, hello, Merry Christmas, Happy Holidays, whatever you observe. Who'd I got here? Say what's up, man. 5 people? Wow. And yeah, guys, follow me on X. I'm trying to get my numbers up over there. Follow me on YouTube. I started a TikTok. I don't know. Hey, me and TikTok, I don't get too much traction on TikTok. Maybe I don't spend enough time on TikTok. I'm like always on YouTube. I'm trying to be better at that. And if you guys haven't seen, I've been releasing some shorts content, trying to give you guys some more frequent hits of DubDigital without running myself into the ground. It's all about sustainability. And that's something that I've learned over the years. I've had my channel for quite a long time. I think I started 2020. I started the channel in 2016. I've actually revamped it a few times, right? From different things. I think I started with motivation. No one likes motivation. Then I changed it to crypto because obviously I had a passion for crypto. I said, why don't I just talk about crypto? And like I was in a situation where I was the nerdiest crypto kid in the room, at least in my friend group. And I think you guys could probably relate to that, right? Being the person who talks way too much about crypto, especially within the friend group. And everyone's like, damn, man, stop talking about that. Let's talk about music or something. So I was like, you know what? I'm tired of annoying everybody. Let me start a channel. And this is what it's become over the years. It really saw some pretty good traction in 2021. Obviously, that's when the last bull market happened, and till now, it's kind of an ebb and flow with crypto. But you know, I've met a lot of good people through this channel. I've met a lot of good crypto people through this channel, and a lot of people who love crypto just as much as me. And that's the beautiful thing about these streams. I try to do twice a week. I have an overarching topic, but you know, it goes wherever it goes. So I do encourage you guys to interface with me. Send some comments, some questions into the chat. I'll get to you when I can get to you. But sorry, a little segue there. Going back to the initial topic that I was talking about. There's a lot of things slotting for Q1 2024. And you know, they call markets like kind of like self-fulfilling prophecies, right? Whatever the aggregate market thinks is typically what happens to the price. Because I don't know if this has been a thing, but I've been coining this kind of like concept that markets are just sentiment mechanisms, right? They're kind of lagging sentiment mechanisms that show the price of an asset based on what the aggregate amount of people, the aggregate hive mind thinks of something. And when you think of markets this way, it's very valuable, right? Because that's why the buy the rumor, sell the news is a thing at all. It's just what people think, right? And back in 2013, Bitcoin was like what, $100. That's when I got my first Bitcoin. People liked it $100 worth. Now people like it like 40,000 bucks worth. But the whole time, you know that there's two schools of people: bulls and bears. People who think it's gonna go up and people who think it's gonna go down. That's a fact of life, right? And at the very moment, everyone flips to bull. At the very moment, there's no skepticism, is when Bitcoin more or less is peaking at its high point in the cycle. And when you could look at markets as in psychology like that, it helps you kind of keep yourself on level ground. When things get the most frothy, when it gets the most exponential, when it gets the most hype focused, it's good to be able to take a look around, take a step back, and be like, how do I feel? Oh, I feel a way. I feel kind of like hyped up right now. How does everyone else feel? They all feel the same way. Maybe I need to reel it back. Because markets are just like pricing mechanisms that derive themselves from sentiment. My dude, generational talent, how you doing? Good to see you. I liked when we looked at small caps. Yeah, I like a lot of things too. See, the thing with small caps, man, like this is the problem I run into, and I'm learning things as I do this channel, right? Those things are great in the bull market. Awesome. But like, yo, like when no one's buying small caps, when they're all down 95%, it's not sustainable content. You know, I'd much rather have these like back and forths. Because like not everyone's into small caps. Not everyone's into large caps. Not everyone's into NFTs. It's kind of hard to cater to everyone, you know, all at the same time. I remember you talked about XPRT a few years ago. We still with it. I still have my bag. Just like a lot of the cryptos I talked about, I still have my bag. I posted something on my Twitter account talking about conviction, right? Beyond all of the picking the right next World Economic Forum sanctioned coin that's slotted to go up to $1 trillion, conviction, right? Why do you hold what you hold? Do you understand the reason you hold it? What's the use case? Why would other people want to use it? Having convictions in assets, doing the research on things. Because look, I'm not like the proudest YouTuber, man. I'll tell you straight up. Like, I still got bags. Just like most people probably still got bags. I still got bags. But the problem is, like, I have the bags I believe in the most right now. Because I believe in them. I did the research. I saw the use case. I held the vision. And I'm going to hold the vision. Because I'll tell you what, guys. In 2013, when I bought Bitcoin, it went up a lot. Then it went down a lot. And it stayed down for a long time. And I acted as if I'd never see that money again. It was dead to me. That's the way you have to think, because like things don't just happen on your timeline. If you have the conviction, you have the ability to weather the time that occurs between you and your desired destination. 6 people, what's good? Yeah, that makes sense. Yeah, man. I mean, 2022 was like it was a shit show for this channel. I got 5,000 subscribers. Where they at? They all took off. See, that's the bull run, though. That's the bull run effect. Everyone wants to be in crypto when it's fun, when it's hot, when it's popping, but no one wants to be here when the going gets tough. Well, I won't say no one. You guys are. You know what I'm saying? But you hear what I'm saying. What up, brother? You're a world of knowledge. Thank you. Thank you. Appreciate you being here. Welcome. Welcome. We're just doing a little crypto Christmas little thing. You know what I mean? But yeah, guys, you'll see that everyone wants to pick all these altcoins. They want all these small caps, large caps. They want to flip this. They want to flip that. Don't you think it's funny? Most people show up to crypto when the price is up. Don't you think that's funny? Don't you think it's funny? All of them disappear on the streams when the price goes down. Don't you think that's funny? It's hype cycles. It's hype cycles. But the thing is this, man. They lose if they don't stay in touch with the news. Whoever stays closer to the knowledge profits the most, right? Because you guys are still here. And while it's kind of hurts, right? Hurts to feel sometimes when you're in a market that's down for a long time and your bags are down, you're still aware. You're looking around. You know what's relevant, what's on the cutting edge, who's fallen off, who got hacked. You know all these things. Knowledge is where the money's made. That's where all the money's always made. You don't want to detach yourself from that. And in fact, I would say to you, you learn more in the downturns. You learn more about yourself in the downturns. I thought some game was when you said alt surges, you pull and put it in one that's been lagging. I thought some game was when you said alt surge and you pull and yeah, that's for a time, but like, to be honest, I'm learning this whole time I've been in crypto, right? Like this is an evolving process with me, right? You're watching the evolution of me too, right? Because like I have revised my theory a little bit since last bull run, right? I was spread way too thin, right? Like the probability of spreading yourself thin is like you're probably going to hit some winners, some jackpots. But at the same time, it's not going to be enough to matter. I'm kind of condensing my bag holdings, right? Like 10 tops for me, 10 tops. And then you can do that, move it around, but you have to be very aware what part of the cycle you're in. Moving it around and like, we're talking about the old lady strategy, I think you're talking about. And if you guys don't know what the little old lady strategy is, you basically take a piece of capital, you put it in an altcoin. You watch that, whatever you want to make. You want to make fiat, then you put it in the fiat pair. If you want to make Bitcoin, you put it in the Bitcoin pair. And when it pops 100%, you pull 50%. You keep that bag and you put it in another alt that hasn't popped off yet. Now, it does help to be able to like do some TA to see some like setups occurring. So you're not waiting there forever, but that's basically the thought process on it. Use the same capital to make a whole bunch of little bags. That's called a little old lady strategy. But that really is the most effective when you're in like the blow off top cycle, when you don't have to wait that long. Everything's popping like popcorn. And at one point in 2021, I just took like a couple hundred, put in a Coinbase, pop, 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 pop. But it's like a game of musical chairs too, right? Because you can get caught buying something when everything starts to fall down, right? Yeah, little old lady. But that's that's a strategy that's pretty well practiced in pretty much a lot of investing circles there. But yeah, guys, looking at 2024, I think there's a lot of fundamental news lining up. I think there's a lot of things of substance, right? Bitcoin ETF is also, we talked about that. We talked about that. It's looking like Bitcoin dominance is going to want to fall down at some point in Q1 2024. At least that's what my thread shows. Go check me out on X. A lot of things are starting to line up to show that crypto more or less wants to move. And, like I talk about all the time, Everyone wants Bitcoin to go $1 million. But like before that happens, there has to be volatility, right? This is like a law of physics. Every action has an equal and opposite reaction. I don't know the exact law, I forgot. But basically, like before you want to like shoot a rubber band, you got to pull it back first. Opposite reaction. Then you let it go. Stored potential energy shoots off in a direction. Has to pull back first. There has to be volatility. We've been seeing more and more volatility recently than at least in the past, right? And know this, Bitcoin went down a lot in 2022. In 2023, it's come up a good amount. The pulling back happened in 2022. There might be some short-term pulling back, but the majority of it is over. You guys have made it through the hard part, in my humble opinion. But you know what they say? It's always darkest before the dawn. And that's when you want to give up the most. Isn't that funny that most people start rage quitting, selling their bags at the bottom, selling it in disbelief phase right before Bitcoin shocks the world? That's the psychology of a market cycle. If you guys haven't checked out the psychology of a market cycle, check it out. I think it's called the Wall Street cheat sheet. It's on every Google search. You can find it. And it's a very good thing to show you that capitulation is very close to disbelief. People give up right before there starts to be signs of life. And right when signs of life occur, that's when people are the most hopeless. And that's when they give up. After they've done 80 to 90% of the hard work, they never see the profit. But that is why most people don't make money in investing. They don't understand that perseverance is much more important than like just being smart. You know, having conviction is much more important than being the smartest dude in the room. The smartest dude in the room doesn't make all the money all the time. It's the toughest one. It's the one that can get through it. But I know you guys know that. Wow. Yep. What did you guys get any cool Christmas gifts? Buy any Christmas bags? Anything? Nothing. Ho ho ho. Man. My dog chewed up my Santa hat. Sucker. Damn. 12 people, how you feeling? Happy holidays, Dub. Good to see you streaming again. My long-term bags are packed and ready for bull. Let's go. How you doing, Road Dog Crypto? It's been a while. I know. I'm streaming again. Like I feel like I've been trying to feel out the ideal content type for this channel. I started off doing like very heavily edited videos, but I started to burn myself out. That's not good. You know, and I also wasn't that frequent. It wasn't enough. It was like one video a week. Not enough, right? And then I started streaming and that was fun, you know, but like streaming every day, you started to run out of substance, right? So I think I like this 2 times a week kind of thing and shorts in between, because I do know that these streams could be long. Not everyone appreciates long form content. So I could take out little nuggets, right? And try to condense it so people can get the good stuff right away. I know you guys are busy people. But you guys have a good Christmas? Was it good? If you had a good Christmas, type into the chat. I gotta know, man. Bought some sand at 48 cents. Yeah, we talked about sand here right before it popped off. Remember, guys? We were talking about metaverse, talking about the niche of metaverse. And it took a while. The problem with being visionaries, guys, is sometimes you're too early. You're so early, you psych yourself out. But then it took off. Metaverse is the hottest thing. This is Xavier from Let's Hash It Out. I enjoyed our show last week. Xavier, how's it going, man? If you guys don't know, check out Xavier. Xavier, do you have, like, I guess you have a YouTube channel right there. You're on YouTube. But Xavier also has a X account. I went on Let's Hash It Out, which is a show that Blind Dave, who's also a sub of the channel. You guys probably know Blind Dave, longtime sub. He started a channel, and I was talking to Xavier and some of the homies, crypto OGs. It's a good listen. I should be able to drop it somewhere. Where is it at? Posted a bunch of stuff. Yeah, so check it out, guys. It's a great listen. Would love to do it again. I love it when I find crypto G's who think a lot like me. The problem with being in crypto right now is that I feel like I'm from a different, I won't say echelon, but I'm from a different class of hodler, right? Like I came into crypto 2013, and what's hot back then is not what's hot now. What got people into crypto back then, it wasn't very price based. It was kind of like libertarian is esque. It was about like custodying your own wealth. It was about being separate from the system, not relying, needing to be reliant on anything or anyone. And now I look at, popular crypto influencers more or less, and I don't see that same kind of emphasis. I don't see that same kind of wherewithal or even really caring too much about it. The second people care about self custody, the second people care about being autonomous financially is when there's a hack, right? But now that Bitcoin is much higher than it is now or was then, you start to see people focus more about money, having Bitcoin be incorporated into the financial system, which is cool. Don't get me wrong, but it definitely wasn't the reason people were getting in 2013. So it's good to kick it with you guys for sure. It's good to talk to people who definitely understand the real what do you call it, the spirit of crypto, right? Definitely love to talk to people who understand the spirit of crypto. Vids and editing do take a lot of time and energy. Yeah, it does, man. It's no joke. It's crazy. Check it out. This is the link to the video that I did with Blind Dave and Xavier here. Any thoughts, Xavier? What's been on your mind lately in terms of crypto? What are some pressing topics that you like to discuss nowadays? This is a pretty hangout live stream, pretty nonchalant. We interface with the homies, the real ones to show up, 13 people. What's good? Love to see you guys here, and I hope you had a great holiday season. But yeah, I think next year will be much better for crypto. I think it's well overdue, well overdue. And I think last bull run surprised a lot of people because it wasn't as exponential as most people had expected or at least gotten used to. Now, I do understand the whole theory of diminishing returns, right, for crypto. My bad. That's the whole thought process that more money in a market cap takes more money to move the market cap. But I think that money's coming now. I think it's coming now. I think that we see more and more on and off ramps. We see more and more countries interested in Bitcoin. We see more and more institutional appetite for Bitcoin. We're seeing all these things line up. We just have to wait for that big influx of money to come in. Unfortunately, I don't think it's going to be just because they feel like it. I think it's going to be out of necessity, like these things typically happen, right? Hopefully that doesn't happen because like some kind of crazy economic something, but it probably will. It's probably going to be accompanied by some kind of banking crisis or economic collapse like COVID spurred the last one. Can I say that now? Are they going to strike me or something? I don't know. I don't know how these things work. But yeah. And then there's going to be reaction monetarily. That reaction is probably going to spur crypto because crypto is an alternative financial system. And I think people know more than ever that inflation is more and more pervasive than it's ever been, at least in modern history, right? I was just talking about it. If you look back 10 years ago, the cost of things were drastically lower. Quality of life was drastically better. People could go farther and farther on less and less. That trend has reversed 180. I think it's like the average person pays 40% of their paycheck on housing. 40 to 50%. I think wasn't it supposed to be the rule of thumb was 30%? No more than 30%. 70% of people in America are living paycheck to paycheck right now. Credit defaults are rising. All these things are happening. Of course, if you have enough money, these things aren't affecting you as much as the people on the other end of the economic spectrum. But the other end of an economic spectrum is feeling it for sure. And more people are ending up on that other end of the economic spectrum. So with that said, like I'm saying, markets and price charts are just representations of how people feel about assets. People like Bitcoin because of crises. Whether that means they need to get out of their country and get their wealth outside of the state, whether that means that there's inflation debasing their currency, whatever the crisis is, Bitcoin's a crisis hedge. Crypto is a crisis hedge. It's an alternative for sure. So what causes people to need that alternative? That's the real question. What's it going to be this time? Just freestyle. I am, man. Trying. Any new WAN chain alpha? So you guys who don't know, I do some marketing work with WAN chain. I do their monthly like update videos, and also I do a few they're called wanted one-on-one interviews that I do with like the builders in WAN chain, the leadership in WAN chain, so on and so forth. Any new alpha? Yeah, I mean, they just keep building bridges. Look, I don't know what it's going to take people to understand that there's not that many truly decentralized cross-chain bridges in the space today. I don't know what it's going to take. People trusted multi-chain, not quite sure because they were hacked before as AnySwap, and they went down again. And it crippled a lot of projects. They weren't really decentralized. You need decentralized. True decentralization is the only way crypto can like really meet its potential. And WAN chain's been doing that, right? And they actually have this new thing called X flows, right? Where it's basically not a lock, mint, wrap, burn model for transporting assets. It's transferring data back and forth, which makes decentralized cross-chain bridges like pretty like safe, because the main attack vector in a centralized bridge is the honeypot of wrapped tokens that it holds. But if you're just passing data, like you're telling, give this wallet X amount of natively minted asset on each chain. That's dope. Also, I've never forgot about WAN chain's work with the China State Grid. That has not been very widely publicized because China is making sure that it's not. Understandable. China doesn't like to talk about a lot of things, right? And then lastly, they're working on a messaging platform where they're going to be passing data, kind of expanding the use case for not just assets, but things and beyond. There's lots of stuff. Check it out. I spell it out beautifully on WAN Chain's official YouTube channel. Plan your trade and trade your plan. That brings up a good point too. With this forthcoming bull run, I think people understand that crypto is in debt at this point, even though they say time and time again that it's dead. Bitcoin's died 1,000 times and it's yet to stay down. So it won't stay down forever. Knowing that, you need to start doing some math and how much do you need? Because I'll tell you what, no one ever sells the exact top. Never happens. Don't even try. It's better to understand how much money you need and scale out and find a way to scale out so you at least hit that number. Now, we all have different size bags, so that might, not be possible, but you hear what I'm saying. How much money would it be to significantly change your life, secure your future, your family's future, maybe take off some significant payments? Because one thing's for sure, the cost of living is going to go up and to the right. But the one thing you can do is reduce your costs, whether that be paying off your car, paying off your home, saving up enough money to supplement, maybe that's $1,000 extra a month, a couple $1,000 extra a month to help you supplement and absorb the rising cost of living. Maybe that helps you get to another country, whatever it may be, and whatever's right for you. It's possible with crypto, but it does take some planning. I've learned a lot of things the hard way. I'm not proud enough to say it. I've learned a lot of things the hard way. But if you're not learning from your mistakes, that's the only way you lose, right? I would say so. Yep. But yeah, man, Christmas has been pretty good. I can't complain. Saw a lot of people, hung out, spent some quality time. Looked at crypto a little bit. Just getting ready for the new year. And I think hopefully, after January starts, we start to see some rising up on the Bitcoin stuff, but I'm expecting altcoins to start taking a leg up, not financial advice, they got some catching up to do. What do you say? What do you say? You guys think any presents? You got some presents? Got anything good? Any cryptos? Buy a Trezor? You guys still messing with Ledger? I don't know. I'm leaving Ledger. Ledger, no. Can't do it anymore. But yeah, I think Trezor is probably one of the best bets. If you're Bitcoin only, probably Cold Card, but you know they're relatively new. Just something that has open source code, open source firmware, so people can like verify, trust but verify. Because to be honest, Ledger has been dropping the ball so much. I talk about it on one of my last streams, but they dropped the ball so much. You really only have trust if you're a crypto hardware wallet company, right? Between Ledger Recover, the Wallet Connect hack, can't be doing it. And Ledger, you know, I mean, Trezor rising to the occasion, started making free shipping and all this stuff. So they saw the opportunity too. And I love that. I love that. Yep. Let's see. Bitcoin ETF, I talk about all the time. I'm actually starting to see some sentiment of people talking about how Larry Fink is probably going to be the most influential person to Bitcoin since Satoshi. It's pretty crazy. And I think that starts to show, at least I understand what they're saying. It's going to affect the price. It's going to get a whole generation of people access to Bitcoin when previously they couldn't from their stock brokerage. I mean, they could through Grayscale's GBTC trust, but that's not exactly like spot Bitcoin. But here's the thing, and I talked about it on Hash It Out with Xavier and Blind Dave. That Bitcoin trust, I mean, that Bitcoin ETF that's coming, they put some verbiage in it to allow it to be cash settled. So this isn't like really exactly, at least for the BlackRock one. So this isn't exactly what we've been waiting for, but they're trying to pass it off as it is. I think you guys should know. Now the price might go up a lot. It might go to the moon. It might moon boy Lambo. But just remember, they're still trying to keep their thumb on the price of Bitcoin. Now, the reason Bitcoin went so crazy in 2013, 2017, the cycles before the cash settled Bitcoin and Ethereum ETFs were implemented was because it was true market dynamics. Don't you think it's funny that the volatility in Bitcoin has been muted somewhat? Because when you could buy and sell all the crypto you want, like with money, they print money. They can make more money. They can get more money. You can never get more Bitcoins. And that's the thing that previous cycles, I think, the reason they were so exponential. But remember, they're trying to confuse you and obfuscate what's happening here. This is a transition of money from the old financial system into the new financial system. Now, they could play games with the number of the money. They can do this and that. They can hold it down. They can have futures, all this stuff. But that doesn't change the fact that these assets are limited in supply. And at the point of which we transition to a truly decentralized economy, where I do something, you send me a Bitcoin. You do something, I send you a Bitcoin. When we actually accept Bitcoin and cryptocurrency as a form of payment and finality between each other is when we'll see the true purchasing power of all crypto. But not until then. Not until then. And they're going to try to, I think the banks still have some fight left in them. I think, Xavier, you talked about it. As long as they have Bitcoin on their ledger, the banks will hold your Bitcoin. It'll be so expensive to move, you'll want to keep it there. And they'll let you draw from its value and pay for things in the real world as long as you hold it in that account. That makes a lot of sense. As long as you keep it in the bank's layer, it's all good. Because custody is 9/10 of the law. You only really have what you hold. I mean, gold bugs understand that. OG crypto people understand that. The second the lights get turned off, the second the hack goes down, whoever's holding the asset, that who has the asset. That's it. That's all that ever matters. Everything else is just fugazi. Everything else is fake, right? So like, you need to hold your assets. And the banks are going to make it very interesting and very lucrative to hold it with them. And they're going to make it convenient. And they're going to do all these things. There might even be tax benefits. It might even be illegal to self-custody. But know this, they want it that way. They want to make it hard for you. They want to make sure that you don't just bypass them. Because that's what crypto does, guys. Crypto bypasses the banks. If you don't know, Bitcoin was made in response to the 2008 financial crisis. That's why Bitcoin was made. It was never meant to be implemented into banks and the financial system. It's its own financial system. I'm talking about Bitcoin and cryptos, by the way. So just know this. As time goes on, the price goes up, the game gets more and more convoluted, the rules of the game gets more and more opaque. But you always have to remember why Bitcoin and crypto were made in the first place. It's so I wouldn't need anyone else to trade with you. And you wouldn't need anyone else to do anything you wanted, go anywhere you wanted with your crypto. These were things I didn't have to explain back in the day, but these are things that I have to talk about now. After Bitcoin ETFs are approved, will you see low prices in Bitcoin again? Question mark. Will you never see the opportunity to buy at dips again? Well, Ricardo, no. You will see dips. You will see lots of dips. There are always dips. I mean, look, it might go up a lot and the floor might be higher than it is today, but there will be dips. The one thing that's ever been like consistent in Bitcoin's history has been volatility. But you'll start to hear that sentiment the higher we go. The more the price increases, the more confident everyone gets in Bitcoin that this is a new paradigm. Everyone says this at around the top of the cycle. It's a new paradigm. This is the future of money. This is digital gold. This is never going down. We're transitioning. This isn't like a pump. This isn't like a fad. This is a transition. We're never going back to the new system. And then at that point, it always goes back to the new system. You know what I mean? I don't think, I mean, as long as CBDCs are around, and we haven't even seen a wide rollout of CBDCs yet. And until those are gone because they failed, I don't think Bitcoin's going to be where it's supposed to be. Now, we can have many economies, though, between each other. But, like, it's going to be a while until everyone in the world realizes that we just need to go crypto to crypto for everything. And that's when Bitcoin will not go down. But until that happens, there will always be value that comes and leaves this system. Does that make sense? Because, like, you've seen it. You've probably seen it. Everyone says, oh, it's never going up. Oh, it's never going down. People are so extreme, aren't they? And that's the thing. You got to remember that. The truth always lies somewhere in the middle of bearish extreme and bullish extreme is where you want to sit in like the realistic zone. But yeah, it was a great time. I do encourage you guys to go listen and watch the Hash It Out episode. A lot of smart individuals on that panel. It was a great talk. Great talk. Would love to do it again. Yep. But yeah, I think that's also something that's interesting. Like, I like crypto, but I try to keep it real, right? Like, I'm not a maximalist of almost anything. I'm not a maxi of anything. I'm not all crypto. I believe there's value in lots of other things too. And I think that's something that's important to understand, right? Especially when it comes to the perspective of, hey, at some point I'd like to pull my value out of the digital world into the real world. What would you pull it out for? Have you guys been thinking about that? Like, not just how much money you would need, but what would you want to buy? What would help your life? Because that keeps you tethered to reality, especially when the crypto price gets everyone's head and people start leaving reality more and more, right? What would benefit your life? Who do you need to secure? Is it just you? Is it 5 people? What do you need to do? What are the things around your house that need fixing? Do you have a house? Do you want a house? Do you need a car? Do you like Do you want to start a business? These are all things. These are all things that have value. Okay. You'll hear two schools of thought of people who like don't think crypto is valuable at all, and some people who think crypto is the only thing in the world. Now, that's easy to be on the last school of thought where crypto is the only thing worth investing in the world because I mean, we're all from different economic situations, right? So like if you have all of your basics and all the things you need to survive, yeah, maybe the only thing you really need is crypto. You're all like offense, right? But everything isn't offense all of the time. This is something I've learned over my decade plus of investing. You can't just be all offense all the time. You need to have some defense because, like what I told you, like consistency is key. Being able to have the vision and then see it actual manifest in reality sometimes takes longer than you think. So, what would help you have greater staying power, greater resiliency, less dependence? Is that like buying some land and be able to learn how to grow food? Is it buying? I think Clint Westwood said in the hashed out conversation I had, heirloom seeds, right? Um, Look at Bill Gates. He's buying up farmland like it's crazy. He's buying up water like it's crazy. At the end of the day, sit there and think about what can secure me in this world. It's typically things that a lot of people think about too: water, shelter, food, power, or energy. Um, Things that increase sovereignty. Because the one thing I wouldn't suggest anyone do moving into the future is become more dependent on the system. If anything, I think you should strive to become less dependent on the system. I mean, there's probably people who've benefited greatly from the system, but I know that's not everyone, and it's probably not even the majority of people. And in fact, the United States government has a lot of unfunded liabilities that they're not going to pay at one point. As long as we have the world reserve currency and we could print things into oblivion, yeah, we could pay it. I mean, it degrades the dollar like we've seen, but they could technically pay it. But every circus comes to an end at some point, right? And this is basically a game of moving economic musical chairs. We're all just hoping that our generation isn't the generation that has to suffer from all these unfunded liabilities and irresponsible money management. But someone's going to settle with it. Is that millennials? Is it Gen Z? Is it the generation before? I don't know. But what I do know is even though your world is messed up, our world doesn't have to be. Don't be a victim to your circumstance. Create your circumstance. Right? So, what do you need for this upcoming bull run? What do you want? How can something change your life so like your dream can happen as soon as possible? And if it's I want a Lambo, then yeah, you have to probably wait a while. But like there's dreams at every stage of life. And there's things that like could take a weight off you. Right? That's the message I try to give in this channel. Something a little more realistic. And I get it. It's not sexy, it's not hot. Numbers reflect that. But I got to be real, man. I got to be real. Dub spitting, pay attention. Hey, thank you. Damn, man. Christmas came and went, man. 2024 came and went. It was like a blur. Am I wrong about that? It's like a blur. It's like, whoa, it's over already. It went fast, but it didn't. You know, like how does that happen? Maybe it feels like time doesn't even move consistently. Sometimes it feels like time slows down. Maybe it actually does. I'm not sure. Let's see. Yeah, guys, that's basically what I've been thinking about. You know, as the new year's coming around and trying to situate my focus and what I want to accomplish. I've just been thinking about these things, like the real things that can make large differences. You know, I think it's gonna get to a point where inflation takes another leg up and things get worse and worse, and people who are having trouble now are gonna have a lot of trouble with like these prices. People are talking about the price of McDonald's being like $16 to $20 every time they go. They're comparing it to being like the same price as Chipotle. They might as well just go to Chipotle and get a more nutritious meal. I can't fault them for that. But just know prices never go down. Look at the 1950s and 1960s. You could pay like a nickel for stuff. Has it ever went back to that price? No, it will never go back to that price. Hoping for it to go back to price will never happen. I remember 10 years ago, I was using, I'm in California, by the way, what, $3 to fill up like per gallon of gas? Now it's like $4.50. I'm lucky. $5 a couple years ago, $7. One thing in life, guys, is life is impermanence. No matter what happens, things change. Things will change. They never go back to being the same. So, like, you can fight against it. It won't change anything. Or you can understand that and position yourself to try to benefit in the face of inflation, in the face of adversity. Try to benefit. Why not? Why not try? It's free to try. It doesn't hurt to try. But it only hurts if you don't try, right? And this is where cryptocurrency, gold, silver, real assets, land, things of finite supply come into play. Because you look around and you see what BlackRock's buying. They're buying all the single family real estate. If you look around, you see Bill Gates buying a bunch of farmland, land, housing, crypto, ounces. It's almost like they're buying finite things, collectibles, fine art. Do you see a trend here? They know something. They know the prices of things will not go down. That's why they buy it. You have to have the same mindset. And since you're here, you are, But just know that there are other things that have value too. I'm a fan of collectibles. I mean, my first HODL was Pokemon cards. I've been having this HODL mindset for a long time. And I will tell you that things that you HODL typically don't go down because the currency is based on credit and credit expansion. If the very fabric of the financial system is based on printing, do you think things stay the same? No, they will not stay the same. Let's see. I'm jealous of not having a president like the one in El Salvador who understood everything you mentioned. Well, here's the thing, man. That's the whole benefit. Well, I don't know where you're from, Ricardo. I'm from the United States, and I'll say we in the United States have the U.S. dollar, and the U.S. dollar is a world reserve currency. I think we do understand that concept. But the whole benefit of having the world reserve currency is you're able to print. No other country in the whole entire world is able to print. And from a government standpoint, that's a strength. From the government's people's standpoint, it's a weakness. But they don't care. They can print things and buy things. That's crazy. Like, imagine you had a printer, right? And you wanted to buy a car. Say you want to pick up a Honda Accord, new Honda Accord, because you had to go somewhere or whatever, your one broke down, and you just go print the money. I mean, you understood that it would cause inflation, but it was going to take time and it wasn't directly affecting you. So once you did that, aren't you more prone to do it again and again and again? Because it's easier, man. I don't fault them. It's only human nature, but it's just short-sighted. That's why every fiat system in existence has failed ever since ancient China. Every single one has collapsed. They run about 80 to 100 years. We're a little long in the tooth. This fiat system, well, is it? I mean, 1971. That's when Bretton Woods happened, right? I don't know. Whatever. Scratch that. What I'm saying is this. People have tried this since the dawn of time, and it's never worked. That means that something has to give. Something's got to give. 2023, dumb fast. It does go fast. Yep. What happens to jobs when gas hits $20? They keep playing with us. Where's the BS fiat? With their BS fiat. Well, when jobs go to $20, people stop going to jobs. And that's why you keep hearing about this concept of universal basic income. They started rolling it out, getting people used to the concept from the pandemic when they shut the whole world economy down. People couldn't go to work, they weren't allowed. Then they started giving stimulus checks. Some people got dependent on the stimulus checks. But the thing you have to understand about governments, guys, is they want you dependent on them. Because when you're dependent on them, they can make you do things, right? They want you to be dependent. They want you to be dependent. And if they let gas run out of control to $20, you're even more dependent. You need them even more. And they'll probably cave because there will be initially some kind of social unrest, some kind of like protesting that's occurring. And they'll come in like white knights and say, we're going to save you. We're going to give you money because you're hurting and we are compassionate. We are benevolent. We want to help you. And then you'll take it. And at first there won't be much like demands. But then one string will happen. Hey, you got to do X, Y, and Z. You got to make sure to pay your taxes X, Y, and Z. They'll be like increasingly more overbearing until it's like you got to make sure you take this like medical procedure or you can't get this. And then they'll start being, because it'll be digital money, they might even start programming your money, saying this is going to leave your account in X days. You better spend it now. So they can start playing with the money velocity, the different, what do you call it? The different variables that like they can use to slow down inflation, speed it up, whatever they need. Like that's the one thing that digital money allows them to do. They can freeze wallets if you don't like do something. They basically could stop your ability to function within society. Basically because they want. There probably won't be any kind of court hearing that occurs if they freeze your money. Nothing. It's pretty much tap of a button. And that at that point, you're the most dependent on the government. And that's why I'm saying before we get cornered into that dystopian reality that's probably coming down the pike, because governments like to get more or less control. Do they ever give you more freedom or less freedom over time? Less. Because this is probably coming down the pike. You still have a situation now to set yourself up in a way that you don't need to be completely dependent. And that's the name of the game here. Having options, having choices, having the luxury to potentially buy yourself some freedom. Because we started to see some of this dystopianism creep in during the pandemic. Stopping your ability to travel. Stopping your ability to go to work and earn a living. Stopping businesses from being open and staying open. Essentially killing small businesses throughout America. It's getting wilder and wilder and hasn't stopped since 2020. What do you think? But under everything, guys, I think to understand where inflation is heading, make sure to watch gas, oil. Watch oil. Watch your pump. If your pump starts to creep up, it's creeping up. Just know that that's going to happen to all of your consumer products in time. In time. There's always a lag effect. But the reason it happens in time when gas goes up is because everything gets transported with gas. Gas is still the energy commodity of our time, right? Things use gas in all their processes for manufacturing. They use gas to get across the ocean. They use gas to get across America in trucks. Everything uses this commodity. So watch oil. Oil's gone down for a while because Biden's been selling off our national reserves. But we have a limit to our national reserves. And in fact, we're supposed to have them as reserves for war, to fight war, right? And at this point, we have a lot of wars and a lot of fronts. We're spread very thin. People are hurting in the economy right now. It's not looking very rosy. And that's why I tell you, I'm glad you're serious about your personal finance. I'm glad you're serious about your personal security. Because you deserve it. What do you think? So moving into 2024, I really want you guys, and most notably my subscribers, because I do care about you guys. What would it take to change your life? What would it take to make you a little more comfortable, to take some pressure off? What would you need? Have you thought about these things? Maybe it's a good time to think about it now. Because I think 2024 is going to be a rare time, where you could actually manifest some of those things, actually make them tangible and within your realm of grasping. And I'll try to be here to help you guys stay tethered to reality, because that's when we need a strong community the most, is when everyone's acting a little out of control in crypto. And you know how it gets. It's fun. The memes are flowing. Number go up, moon, laser eyes are all over social media. It's easy to get sucked in, you know? But yeah, guys, I've been thinking about that. One thing I also think is important is to think of some way to have some kind of cash flowing business. That'd be a good investment, I would think, as long as you're able to manage something like that. Because investing is a lot about resilience, right? Having that cash flow, being able to weather the storms, and having something that's unrelated to crypto can give you even more resilience within crypto. You know what I mean? And that's a little bit of diversification there. I need more BTC. It's never a bad time, man. Never a bad time. As long as you have the right time horizons, it's never a bad time. Financial freedom. I live in Mexico. Oh, cool, man. A lot of Americans are actually moving to Mexico. Younger Americans are moving to Mexico just for the cost of living. Your pharmaceutical industry is killing it. I mean, we're getting killed over here in medical costs, man. And I know they've been trying to crack down on people going to Mexico to get like pretty much the same drugs. But that's cool, man. Not quite sure the cost of living there, but I do think it's cheaper than in America. There's obviously some gives and takes in terms of like types of quality of life in Mexico, but I'm sure that there's places where the quality of life is great, and that's something that I've been seeing a lot of, especially within the crypto bro community, is people moving to other countries where the cost of living is lower. Money goes farther. You can sustain yourself longer. Unfortunately, that's kind of luck we've come to in America. America used to be the land of opportunity. It's becoming less and less of that now. Just getting hit from every angle: medical, rent, food, insurance. Here in California, companies are pulling out of California. Like home insurance companies are leaving. There's only like a few, and the ones that are staying are jacking their premiums up super high. I saw a statistic, I think from Zero Hedge. It said it's now like 50% more expensive to own a house because of insurance premiums, maintenance, all the intangible things that people don't think of when they first buy a house. So that's interesting, man. Rents are starting to come down, which is good, but we'll see how long that lasts. Never lasts that long in California. I live in Tijuana, and there is no comparison between Tijuana and San Diego. US is too expensive. Housing, food, and transportation. It's definitely true, man. Definitely true. I mean, it's kind of insane the amount of money you need in some of these cities, and definitely California, but even other places, Florida, not Mexico, sorry, New York, lots of places. I went over to Atlanta the other month. It was expensive. The housing was expensive there because people in California are moving. Housing in Arizona is going up. Housing in Nevada is going up. I think it's starting to pop a little now because it's more volatile, right? California is a pretty high housing market, but interesting. Gentrification is felt. Yeah, so people are moving into Mexico is what you're saying, and you're starting to see that. Vegas crazy. Yeah, how is that generation talent? I know you're there, right? Is a housing been booming or popping? I know that some areas it's coming down a little bit. With these high interest rates, how does it not come down a little bit? Has to. Who's going to buy these houses? Well, actually, BlackRock. That's why they're staying elevated. Cali coming over, yes, sir. Sorry, man. We gotta live somewhere. We're getting killed out here. We're getting murdered. Woo! It hurts. It hurts. I saw something about like we passed a bill to use sewage water and gray water as drinking water. Bro, I could look over a lot of things, but I ain't gonna drink no toilet water. I'm not doing that. Why would they pass that? Insane. There are so many great places in Mexico where quality of life is amazing. We also are trying to get there. Really, any particular places? I know that Thailand is interesting too, and a lot of people live in Southeast Asia in the crypto community, mainly because crypto is so hot over there too. But cost of living is lower. Medical quality is pretty high. There's a lot of good doctors out there. Food is low. A lot of public transportation, so like not a lot of use for gas. Pretty politically stable. When you look at a lot of these other countries, they become more and more attractive, especially within the last 10 years. It's pretty insane because I grew up in a generation where you were told America, home of the free, land of the brave, full of opportunity. That opportunity is becoming more and more scarce, unfortunately. But it's not like I won't be so down on America. There's a lot of good things about it. A lot of good things. America's a beautiful place. It's just with this inflation that's starting to show up on our shores, it's getting kind of insane. But it won't be bad forever. The things always right size. Economies always right size. Economic forces make sure that it happens. It just might take longer than people expect, unfortunately. But yeah, that's why I'm concentrating on making your life a better place. I mean, if you can buy a home and you pretty much eliminate a rent payment like from your monthly expenses, how much would that help you deal with this inflation? A lot. A lot. If you come up in a position where you can do that, I think it would be worthwhile to do it. It's always healthy to take profits. Always. I ain't never gonna shame anyone in taking profits ever. And I think these are the conversations we need to have now to kind of normalize it within our minds. Because when the price is up the highest is when you want to let go of it the least. It's just human nature, right? Like you just want to, that greed starts slipping in and you just want a little bit more, just a little bit more. But it's never enough, ever, right? My bad. It's true. The US is also a blessing. It is. Lots of good things, man. But a lot of people are struggling right now. A lot of them. Think it's pretty well documented and known. Just don't know how it's going to go back to normal, or I don't think it ever will. I mean, in terms of like prices for things, we'd have to see like an increase in incomes because for a long time in America's history, like wage increases kept up more or less with like housing and items that were needed for life. But we've watched those run away. Like housing prices have run away and totally outpaced wage growth. You know what I mean? So like, and now we're starting to see other things run away in the same fashion that housing did, like food. Like these are basic necessities of human life. These are problems that can't just get exasperated over years. It has to be dealt with. And I think the United States is going to try to deal with it through something like universal basic income or something that's top down. And that's where the problem is because the government never really fixes problems. They only exasperate them. They think they can look at an economy and, well, if you give people money for this, then it's going to be fixed, right? That's not how economic forces work. Like if you give people money and they have more money to buy up something, that something rises in price because you have capitalism. The business owners just raise the price. Then they'll turn around, they'll try to do price controls. Pricing controls don't work because then the businesses could just quit and then you won't have that service. See, like all these things have been tried in the playbook of governments over time and they don't work. The only thing that does work is letting the free market level itself out. And sometimes that means that there has to be recessions. Sometimes that means there has to be housing collapses. You cannot let a free market regulate itself by avoiding all of the negative parts and only having the positives. If housing only goes up, that means eventually no one can buy all the housing. You know what I mean? Ready for 2025. Good. I'm glad you got your bags packed. If we want to grow food and have animals, Jalisco. But if we didn't need to grow things, we love Sonora and Baja looks amazing. Awesome. Awesome. Yeah. Good food. Lots of beach. Sun. Booze. Sounds beautiful, man. Yeah, we'll see how it goes. Interesting times. But guys, it's been fun. It's been an hour. It's been cool catching up. Thanks for joining me. I do this stream twice a week, Tuesdays and Thursdays, 12 p.m. Pacific Standard Time. Just hanging with the homies, hanging with the crypto fam, and just catching up on this one. I hope you guys had a good holiday season. Merry Christmas, Happy Hanukkah, whatever you do. Happy that. Until next time, guys, I'll talk to you later. DubDigital. Talk to you later. Peace.